financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. In the studio, back, Pat Simasco.
Thank you very much.
From Simasco Law, our elder law expert.
Thank you.
Brian Small.
Always a pleasure, Ken.
David Einstendig.
Good morning.
The topic today is reality of care for mom and dad. And it's personal to me. We're going to walk through, with Pat as our guide, what I'm experiencing right now with regard to my 91-year-old father, and it's not uncommon. It's what happens to everybody at some point in time if they're lucky enough to live long enough. I've got a dad who was very healthy all the way through probably to 89. He's got some dementia. His short-term memory is lousy. His long-term memory is good. Until 8 weeks ago, he was walking without a cane, although he should have been using one, and he was in reasonably good health, living in independent living at an apartment complex where they give you dinner 5 days a week, and you can press a button if you have a fall and pull a cord in your bathroom, but other than that, you're independent. Since then, he had an episode of what turned out to be Bell's palsy, but it looked like a stroke, so he went into Henry Ford Hospital thinking it was a stroke. It wasn't. It was Bell's palsy where your face and eyes droop, and he was there for 3-4 days. He has a blocked carotid artery, but other than that, he went from there to rehab at a nursing center. He got good care at the nursing center, did physical therapy for about a 2-3 week period. They then discharged him. He was back to using a walker and walking well, and he went back to his apartment. 3 weeks later, he had his first fall. And when I say fall, and I'll go to Pat, falling, everyone who has an aged parent knows falling is always the disaster. So he had his fall. He has AFib, so he was on Coumadin, and his Coumadin was way off, and he bled profusely. He lost a lot of blood. Back to Henry Ford Hospital, gave him the blood transfusions. He's anemic as a result of the blood loss, so he's very sluggish and doesn't have his stamina, and now back over to rehab.
You have to also think about this, Ken. If you, or me, or Pat, or Brian, we fall, we're going to brace ourselves significantly with our hands, our shoulder, or whatnot. When you fall at that age, the odds are you're just going down, right on the cement, right on the ground, and just think about that force and that trauma. It is like getting hit by a
My
truck.
dad's always been a good faller. He hit the elbow, but because his Coumadin level was so off, he bled profusely from it, and that caused the blood loss. But you see falling. Falling is always the disaster.
Yeah.
I argued with my dad for 15 years. You're going to fall. You got to use the walker. Not 15 years, but 5 years.
Well, the first thing we should talk about is your dad give a HIPAA release so you could release all of his personal medical information to your
Yes, by virtue of our relationship, he has a fully completed estate plan, so we're covered there. But that's important.
Big deal. The client I just walked in from, her husband had a massive fall at 71. No medical power of attorney, no financial power of attorney. It's going to be a nightmare. But what we do say that all the time is just these unexpected events happen. And when you go to the hospital and you're in the hospital for 3 days, once you're admitted, then you can go to the nursing home. But the key is, when you transfer to that nursing home, it better be a Medicaid certified nursing home, meaning they all do Medicare, they all want Medicare dollars so they can do the physical therapy and the rehab and things like that. But when Medicare ends, if it's not a Medicaid facility, you'll have to move to another facility to get Medicaid benefits.
And that's exactly the problem I'm facing now. He is in a Medicaid certified facility. Here's his problem. he's there, and they keep coming. I talked to the physical therapist, and they said they're going to do therapy, but they said to him, he's so sluggish, he's declining it because he's tired. So I asked her, should I push him?
Asked who?
The therapist. Should I push him, or is it counterproductive because he's anemic? She said, I'll get back to you. She calls me back later that day, and she says, no, if he's anemic, it's not a good thing to push him. So I did not encourage him to do the physical therapy. I left those decisions to be made by him. Physical therapy then makes the decision he's not participating, he's declining. All of a sudden I get a call from the nursing center saying, we're discharging him. Medicare won't pay because he's not getting the service he needs of a skilled nursing service.
Right. So stop right there. They're not discharging him from the nursing home. They're cutting him off of Medicare. So what people think that, well, I got 100 days of Medicare. You don't. You have up to 100 days of Medicare. The first 20 days, Medicare pays 100%. The rest is a coordinated benefit with your health insurance, Blue Cross, HAP, Humana. As long as they give you that type of health insurance, normally you have up to 100 days. Once skilled care stops, it's all over with.
So my problem is this. They're claiming after 2 weeks, skilled care is stopped. Why are they claiming it? They're claiming it because the skilled care is the physical therapy, and he's not doing it.
Right.
So what happens then is they call you up and say, we're going to discharge him in 2 days. You have the right to an appeal.
Well, first of all, again, they're telling you the truth. Nursing homes want Medicare dollars. They get way more money on Medicare than they do on Medicaid or even private pay. So they're fighting to keep them on Medicare. But they're so strict on what the guidelines on Medicare that when they say you're cut off of Medicare, it's pretty much
the problem in my case, though, is the reason why he's not doing the physical therapy is because the physical therapist came back and said to me, he's anemic, don't push him. And now I've told him, if they would have said to me, if he doesn't do the physical therapy, he's not going to be Medicare eligible, then I would have dragged him out of that chair and said, you got to do the physical therapy. He needs the therapy because I want to get him back to walking again. If he doesn't start getting the therapy, he's never going to walk again. He's in a catch-22 situation. I appealed it. We'll come back after the break.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Fav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. All right, so let's continue the saga forward. So he's in the nursing home. The nursing home has said to me, we're sorry, we have to discharge him. He's not Medicare qualified. You can appeal. So they gave me a phone number to call. They said you have to call before noon of the next day after we told you about this to do your appeal.
Ken, hold on. He's in the rehab, not the nursing home.
It's the rehab in the nursing
Right.
home.
Rehab
We'll
in the nursing
keep
home.
it.
So I make the phone call. That night I go and research the grounds and the things because I'm a lawyer. I imagine what everyone else is doing. They just make the phone call. I make the call. Woman's very nice. This is an independent review company where they turn it out to an independent reviewer. She says to me, you're entitled to make a brief statement. I said, my statement's not going to be that brief. I have a lot. I've looked at this. I have a significant number of things to say. She says, well, make it as brief as you can. If you want to file something in writing, we will accept a statement. So I made a long, I gave her my statement. I said, I know it wasn't very brief. And she says, no, it wasn't, but I took it down. And then I did do a written statement because at least I'm a lawyer and I had a lot of information to say because what has me annoyed is I visited him every day. I was talking to the nurses. I asked for physical therapy to call me. I talked to the doctor. So I knew he was battling this anemia versus physical therapy are working against each other, and no one there really, they weren't communicating well. Which they're nice people. I don't have a complaint with the people at the nursing
But
center.
you had no
I think they're good.
idea when you in essence you're making the decisions with your dad, but primarily for your dad.
For my dad.
Okay, for your dad. You had no idea when you said, okay, we'll back off rehab now. You had no idea that was the fact that is going to terminate his Medicare.
Correct. And not only that, neither did the physical therapist, because if she realized it, she wouldn't have told me to do that. She would have said, I can tell you from a medical standpoint, but from a Medicare standpoint, it's a bad move. So I want to move on. His appeal's pending. I don't know the answer, but I had to come up with another plan, so I called Pat, because I said, I'm going to move him into assisted living, but that's going to take me a couple weeks to put together. If they discharge him on tomorrow, I have the problem of either I have to pay, they say to me I have to pay $290 a day while I wait to get him into assisted living, which is a boatload of, it's like a hotel vacation of money, or I said to him, can I file for Medicaid?
Well, that's the problem right now because assisted livings are wonderful, but they're always private pay. So if your dad doesn't have enough income to cover the care expenses at the assisted living, they won't pay. And at that point, you're hoping to get him into the nursing home on Medicaid because then whatever income he has will go to the nursing home. He's allowed $60 a month, but the rest, now he's in a 24-hour care facility that's going to get everything he needs.
Here's the question. He's supposed to go Medicaid eligible, goes into the nursing home, but Ken says he's going to be in assisted living. So he gets pulled out of the nursing home. Does he hurt eligibility for future nursing home?
No.
Or does he have to go back in the hospital? What has to happen?
No, what happens is that you can always go in from home, assisted living, right to the nursing home, but you're always on a private pay or Medicaid status. You don't get any Medicare unless you're in the hospital for 3 days. Now, if he goes home, he can go back in under Medicare as long as he goes in within the next 30 days or something
This
like
was
that.
the plan that we were working on.
Right.
And this is what I did with your guidance and just laid out. I said, okay, I don't want to pay the $290 a day while I'm transitioning him to the assisted living, which I've costed out and I can make it work, but it is expensive. And I want him there for a while because
They get stronger and better.
once you're in the nursing home, even though you get good care, there's no activities.
Right.
When you're in assisted living, there's more activities. There's things to keep you sharp and have a quality of life. It's not fun being that age and knowing you're in frail health. You want your parents to have as much spark as you can get. So I applied for Medicaid because by applying for Medicaid, between now and the time the Medicaid gets approved, I just have to pay my patient portion.
Yeah, that's called the patient pay amount.
So in my dad's case, let's just take an example. Let's say his total income is $2,000 a month from Social Security. He has no other assets. So I just have to pay the $2,000.
He's allowed to keep $60 a month and pay his health insurance. So let's assume the nursing home bill would be $19.40 at that point.
Oh yeah, because his insurance costs a little bit more.
Is that prorated by the day?
No, it's really not, and that's funny because your money always goes first. So if you're in the nursing home for a week, your income always goes first, so you will pay 100% of that first week, and then Medicaid pays after.
Is it always on a month basis?
Month to month.
So if I take him in on June 20th, I still got to give him $2,000.
Well, no, you're giving them your private, your patient pay goes from June 20th to the 30th, so that 10 days would be whatever your portion. Maybe 1,800 of it is your portion, and Medicaid will pay 200 of it, something like that. But your money always goes first.
At the Medicaid rate.
Yeah, at the Medicaid rate.
So it gets used up real fast is what it comes
see
down
though,
to.
if your dad...
Because outside the nursing home, it was $8,900 a month.
Right.
Outside of Medicare.
Well, now if Dad goes home and he's going to the assisted living says it's $6,000 a month because he needs a lot of care. How are you going to pay for that? He only makes $2,000 a month income.
Well, the good thing in my dad's case is I have it costed out for the assisted living is about $4,000 a month. And with his Medicare, he's also, and we previously talked to you, he's a vet. So I have an application pending with the Veterans Administration for
$1,700,
which he only gets $1,200 because he's already getting $500 from a war injury. So that gets me to $3,200. I figure I can pay the freight to cover the difference at $4,000, but at $6,000, if he needs greater care in assisted living, more dementia and so forth, then I got to bring him back to the Medicaid.
That's when the Medicaid waiver, no, it doesn't. The Medicaid waiver program may come into play. Medicaid waiver is you don't have to be in the nursing home for Medicaid to pay his care costs, but it is a nightmare program, a nightmare.
I figure this much. I bring him into assisted living, see how that works. Even in assisted living, I talked to him and said, if he can get a roommate and they can go on a wait list, it can bring his cost down from $4,000 to about $2,700.
They do wonderful
and then
things.
He's got it covered with the things. The big point is you need to know what to do.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. It's announcement time, and then I want to kind of wrap up what we were talking about because it's mind-boggling. But remember, we got Law and Reality on radio. Tuesdays noon to 1, 6 to 7 p.m. on WCHB 1200 AM 99.9 FM. That's Law and Reality Live. Thursdays 3 to 4, Brian and I are with Cliff Russell, Law and Reality Now on 9:10 a.m. We're having a good time with Cliff. Seminar coming up this Wednesday. There's no time like debt elimination time. Wednesday, July 13th, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m.
That was good. There was a little more gusto with that.
Thank you. Focusing on how to preserve future income for you and your family. Solutions using bankruptcy, not using bankruptcy. It's not about bankruptcy. It's about finding the smartest, fastest way of getting rid of the debt so the money starts going into the bank rather than going to bank of whatever. Free copy of my book if you attend the seminar. Sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or call 888-235-HELP. We have another upcoming seminar with Pat talking about these issues. Look at the screen for the information, date, and time on that seminar. We're going to go through the Medicaid issues. They're difficult issues to deal with. People need to have this information. Go to our site. We've got free reports, forming a business, sources for financing, how to save your home and avoid foreclosure, Pat's report on Social Security, both Law and Reality, thavgross.com. Want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross and Samasco Law.
Thank you.
Back to where we're at. So here's the thing that I recognize, and I want you guys to recognize. I've known Pat now for the better part of 3 years. We've been working together because we saw a major synergy between financial issues and elder law issues, so now we're both together, working together side by side on these projects. So I know a lot of this information, and you've been in learning it as we go. All of a sudden, I'm dealing with it on a personal level, and I'm migrating through it, and I get a call on Wednesday telling me he's going to be discharged on Friday, and knowing that if he's discharged, I can't take him back to his apartment unless I have 24-hour care for him because he's not right now at the state where I can leave him by himself. And it's panic zone. It's a difficult situation. I've migrated it by calling Pat, working through it, coming up with the strategy, applying for the Medicaid, doing the appeal. I found the assisted living. I have all the parts moving, and in 48 hours, I formulated the plan. The first 47 hours, I was sweating bullets and having anxiety like you wouldn't believe, and I have the knowledge. Imagine what this is like for everybody else.
It's a nightmare. I have a question, though. What if they called you, they said, he's being discharged on Wednesday, and you say, I'm not picking him up?
Well, that's the discharge. It's not discharge. He's being cut off of Medicare.
Right.
Now you're on private pay.
Okay, so he's on private pay. How much money does he have?
What if he says he doesn't have any money?
They have to go through an involuntary discharge process.
What does that mean?
They
would
would
have to evict him?
Well, yeah, they would have to evict him, but what they do...
Well, we can make that go for 60 days.
Well, what they do, though, is they'll go to probate court and say, we need a guardian or a conservatorship because the family's not taking care of business and not paying the bills and stuff like that. You want to be part of a team with the nursing home. You want to be working together.
So all of a sudden you're persona non grata.
No, you want to be working together.
So you go to a different rehab facility.
Well,
a different nursing home.
It's not like going to the Days Inn.
No, you're going to have them back into the assisted living.
Don't listen to what Dave's saying.
Let me ask the question though.
I'm just saying.
So Ken's applied for Medicaid. Okay, now there's this gap of time before Medicaid gets approved.
Right.
Is Medicaid approval retroactive?
Yes. What happens, you have to apply by the last day of the month, of the month that Medicare ends, and it goes retroactive to the first day of the month. And then if you only have to pay your patient pay amount, so you pay your $1,800 a month and $1,800
But what
a
if
month.
that money's gone already because you already paid your rent and paid all that other stuff?
No. Medicaid, you have to pay your income, and a lot of people get
Yeah,
that wrong.
his money is gone.
You
Because
don't
I
get-
already paid rent for him in his apartment for June.
Now there is an option there with Medicaid, is that if you can get a letter that says that Dad is going to be going home within the next 6 months, Medicaid may allow you to use part of the income as his home expenses for that 6 months.
In this case, I can definitely get that letter,
Yeah.
because what they said to me is he's functioning at a high level. She's saying if he improves a little bit, he can't stay in the nursing home.
Right.
That's why it's so frustrating, because if
It's-
he had the
right.
physical therapy he needs, I wouldn't be taking him to the nursing home anyway.
If
I
he's a
wouldn't be
little
applying.
sicker, your problems are solved. It's a little bit healthier, your problems
Yeah.
are solved. You're in that transition phase.
I want to go back to what David said, because we're lawyers, and what I share complete with you. I already vetted that issue as well, and I talked to Pat about that previously. But it's exactly that. You don't want to become. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, if I say I'm not paying and he's there, are they going to feed him? Are they going to put a little star
will.
outside
No,
of his
no,
room
no.
saying this is persona
No,
non grata,
no,
or will
they-
they just hate me?
no,
I don't want him
they'll-
to. I don't want him to be mean to my dad. He doesn't deserve that.
They will not hate Dad. They will take care of Dad exactly. Because everyone thinks, oh, if you're in a Medicaid facility, you're treated worse. That's the worst thing ever. We had a whole.
No, I meant what if we're not paying?
That's the point, though. Even the difference between Medicaid and private pay, the nurses don't know who's private pay and on Medicaid and who's paying and
So
not.
they're all nice.
It's just what if you ask that nurse, say, what did you go to school for? Is a take care person? They're not looking at that.
I'll say one thing. My experience at the nursing home in terms of the care and the conscientiousness and the dedication of the people that are working there is I'm shocked at how dedicated they are.
Yeah, but how
they
could
are
this
so
be?
nice to
How could
the
this be
patients,
the
to the residents.
How could this be the first time on the
I'm not happy with the communication.
the rehabilitation issue, whether or not you decide to do it or not do it, completely takes you out of Medicare dollars? How could that be the first
It's
time?
the same institutional problem that we experience with government and with everything else. You're right. It would be better if when people go into the nursing home situation, the social worker or the people there give you a Medicare counseling session. Not a care plan for your father or your mother, a Medicare counseling session on what you need to know to make sure you don't blow the ability to get Medicare during that 100 days.
You know what that sounds like? Topic for another show.
Absolutely.
We'll get a Medicare.
Would you have
person
duct
in.
taped his hands to the little wheel or something?
The question is, because he's got dementia, I'll call him up and say, do the physical therapy, and then he says, okay, do I know that it happened? I went there last night saying, okay, did you do the physical therapy? He says, I don't know. So I checked with the nurse this time, and she made, the notes don't say, but this nurse knew. She called down the physical therapy and said, did he do therapy? And the answer was yes. And then my dad says, I only said no one time. And then my dad says, but my memory's not so good. I said, well, I don't think, I said to him, because he still has a sense of humor. I said, I don't think I've got enough with his dad to go and accuse anybody else here of lying based upon what you're telling me.
But the onus and the aggravation
2
is
seconds.
mostly borne by the family. And the bottom line is you need
Bottom
to
line
be
is
vigilant.
you need to call
be
Pat
vigilant,
if you've got a problem.
vigilant,
1-800
vigilant,
call
vigilant.
Pat.